You ever have one of those mornings that start out perfectly normal, and by the end of it your whole world's on fire? Yeah, that was me sitting on my porch sipping coffee when I got a call from the IRS asking if I was the treasurer of the Sunnyvale HOA Charitable Fund. I laughed. I thought it was a scam. But 10 minutes later I was staring at a real tax filing with my home address on it, signed by my HOA president Karen Henderson. She'd used my house, my actual address, to commit tax fraud. Now, before all this chaos, my life in Sunnyvale was pretty quiet. I'm the kind of guy who minds his own business. I mow my lawn. I wave at the mailman. I try not to get involved in neighborhood politics. But Sunnyvale has this HOA Homeowners Association that thinks it's a miniature government. And when Karen moved in 2 doors down, that government turned into a dictatorship overnight. She had the perfect politician smile, the kind that doesn't reach her eyes, and a clipboard she carried like it was a badge of authority. Within weeks, she'd wormed her way into the HOA presidency. That's when the rules started changing. No unapproved garden decor, no curtains visible from the street, no birdhouses without written consent. It was like living in a suburban prison with pastel fences. I used to joke that my biggest rebellion was keeping my mailbox flag slightly tilted. But that phone call from the IRS, that was something else entirely. The agent on the line sounded calm, polite even. "Sir, can you confirm your mailing address?" I did. Then he said, "That address is listed on a business tax filing for a charitable organization under the Sunnyvale HOA. Are you aware of this?" My stomach dropped. I told him I wasn't. Then came the punchline. The form showed over $76,000 in reported income with deductions that looked like they were made up on the spot. And the signature at the bottom, Karen Henderson. At first I honestly thought maybe it was a clerical mistake. Karen loved her paperwork. She filed more complaints than the city police department. But when I asked for a copy of the document and saw my address typed neatly under mailing headquarters, I knew it wasn't an accident. I looked out my window and saw her across the street trimming her roses, pretending she didn't just commit federal fraud using my house. My blood boiled, but a part of me wanted to play it smart. So instead of confronting her right away, I decided to dig. That afternoon I walked to the so-called HOA office, which in Karen's world was just a corner of her garage stacked with boxes of violation letters. "Morning, Karen," I said, leaning on her mailbox like I didn't already know everything. She flashed that fake smile. "Good morning, lovely day, isn't it?" "Sure is," I said, "especially when the IRS calls before breakfast." Her smile cracked. "Just a flicker, but enough." "Oh dear, you know they make so many mistakes," she stammered. "Right," I said. "Because people accidentally file fake charities under other people's addresses all the time." Her face went pale. She mumbled something about being late for a meeting and practically ran inside. I didn't stop her. I didn't need to, because now I had confirmation. Over the next few days I went full detective. I found a website. She'd built stock photos of happy families, a cheesy slogan about building a better community, and a big shiny Donate Now button that led straight to her personal PayPal. She wasn't even subtle about it. I took screenshots, saved emails, and made sure everything was backed up. Then came the next HOA meeting. Karen stood in front of everyone, hair sprayed to perfection, acting like she was the savior of the neighborhood. "I'm proud to announce," she said, "that our charitable program has raised over $70,000. I nearly choked. People around me started whispering, confused. I raised my hand. "Quick question, Karen. Where exactly is this charity registered?" "Oh, through official HOA channels, of course," she said, smiling too fast. "Interesting," I said, "because the IRS called me about it, and apparently my home address is your official headquarters." The room went dead silent. Karen's face turned the color of week-old milk. Then Mr. Patel, one of our neighbors, an accountant, thank God, spoke up. "Karen, that's impossible. I checked the IRS registry this morning. That charity is under your name, not the HOA's. Her hand started shaking. "That can't be right. I must have filled out the wrong form." "3 times, Patel said, folding his arms. "Because there are 3 addresses listed and all of them belong to homeowners here." People started pulling out their phones, scrolling through donation receipts. Someone found a PayPal statement. Another whispered, "She scammed us." Karen panicked, grabbed her clipboard, and yelled, "This meeting is adjourned," before storming out. That should have been the end of it, right? But Karen wasn't done. Oh no. The next morning she emailed the whole neighborhood claiming the IRS made a clerical error and that she was just temporarily managing funds. I laughed so hard I almost spilled my coffee again because not 5 minutes later I got another message from the IRS. Thank you for your cooperation. An investigation has been opened. That's when I knew things were about to explode. That night I saw Karen in her driveway under the streetlight stuffing boxes into her car like she was fleeing the scene of a crime. I snapped a few photos just in case. The next morning 2 police cruisers pulled up to her house. You could practically feel the curtains twitch as the entire neighborhood peeked through their blinds. The officers were calm, but serious. Karen was flailing her arms, talking fast like she could outspeak the law. When they left, her perfect HOA president mask was gone. Later that day, the board held an emergency meeting without her. They officially suspended Karen and needed someone to take over as interim president. Guess who they picked? Me. I didn't even want the job, but there was something poetic about it. The woman who fined me for having a lawn chair not up to code had just lost her title to the guy who'd barely attended meetings. For the first time, I felt like balance was being restored. But that night, things took a darker turn. I was checking my emails when a new message popped up from an unknown address. Subject line: You shouldn't have messed with me. Inside was a photo of me taken from the end of my driveway. I froze. The air felt heavy. For a second I wondered if I'd gone too far. I mean, yeah, she was crazy, but was she dangerous? I thought about replying, telling her to back off. But instead I forwarded it to the IRS investigator who'd been in contact with me. If Karen wanted to play games, she could play them surrounded by federal agents. The next morning I walked outside to find my garage door defaced with bright red paint, "Liar," followed by a smiley face. The kind of smiley that screams, "I'm losing it, but I'll make it look cute." I didn't even get mad. I laughed. My neighbor Patel came running over, shaking his head. "She's lost her mind," he said. Before I could reply, 2 police cars rolled in again. Turns out Karen had been caught on camera the night before wandering around tearing down HOA flyers screaming about conspiracies. Someone even recorded her arguing with a mailbox. When the officers approached her, she was hiding behind a recycling bin. It was surreal watching them escort her to the squad car. No handcuffs yet, but the image of her perfect tennis outfit, oversized sunglasses, clutching her clipboard like it was a life raft was burned into everyone's memory. As the car drove off, someone on the street started clapping, then another, until the whole block was cheering. A few days later, the IRS agent Davis showed up at my door. "Mr. Thompson," he said, "thank you for your help. Your HOA president has been inventive. She filed 2 more fraudulent forms after we started the investigation. She even listed her dog as a community therapy provider." I blinked. "You're kidding." He smiled. "Let's just say she won't be managing any communities for a while." After he left, I sat in my living room and just laughed. The kind of laugh that comes from relief and disbelief all at once. Months of frustration, all those warnings, those petty fines, it all led to this. Karen didn't go quietly, though. A week later, she tried to hold a press conference on her lawn with a cardboard sign that read, "Justice for Honest HOA Leadership." The only person who showed up was her husband, who looked like he wanted to disappear into the ground. A few days later, they were gone. No goodbye, no apology, nothing. Just gone. We spent weeks cleaning up her mess, canceling fake accounts, fixing records, refunding homeowners who'd unknowingly donated. Eventually, I was voted in as the permanent HOA president. I didn't take it for power. I took it to make sure no one like her ever got that power again. Every year now, when tax season comes around, I send a cheerful email to the neighborhood. "Please file responsibly or Karen might haunt your deductions." Someone always replies, "In IRS we trust." It's been months since that storm passed, but sometimes when I check my mailbox, I half expect to see a clipboard on my porch or a note written in red paint. I guess part of me still doesn't believe it's over. Because if I learned anything from this whole nightmare, it's this. The scariest thing about power isn't losing it. It's watching someone like Karen think she deserves it.